very special episode of Huber Syndrome. I have a special guest today. Gene Park, how are you doing?
I am so stoked to finally be on the Huber Syndrome. I have admired your fandom, your excitement for Resident Evil for years. I still go back to your reaction to the Village trailer and also the Seven trailer that just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's like I just live on your hype and excitement for that. And it's
Oh,
like, man, someone else gets it, man. Someone else totally gets it.
thank you so much, dude. I feel the same way about you, man. Just on Twitter, like admiring you from afar, dude. Just your positive energy, good spirits. So you set this up. Everyone watching, Gene was like, "Yo, let's talk about Resident Evil. Let's do this."
I was like I've been playing so much Resident Evil, and it's like I'm so excited for Resident Evil. I'm so excited for the gold edition of Village that's coming out in 2 weeks from now. And it's like every few months I just get so excited about Resident Evil, and it's like, okay, I need an outlet for this. I know the perfect outlet. It's a Huber syndrome. So I reached out. I was like, can we please just chat about Resident Evil for like 30 minutes to an hour? And
Hell yeah.
This will just be good for my soul.
Yes. Before we get into some Resident Evil, how did you get into video game journalism? I don't know this story, You're rocking the Washington Post. How did all of that come to be?
Yeah. Well, I'm still sounding good, right now?
Phenomenal.
Yeah. Awesome. So I started freelancing for a really small website called GameCritics.com back in 1999. It's like 2003. Those were my college years, and we didn't get paid, but we got the game reviews. We were sent a disc because there were no codes back then.
Sick.
So like I would get like discs for like Grand Theft Auto Vice City, and I'd be reviewing those. And I even went to E3 2002 and 2003.
Wow,
which was incredible. Which was an incredible experience. Those were the years of Halo 2 and Metal Gear Solid 3 trailers like dropping. So I got to see those live.
So like hype.
So I was really like the storm of like some really, really good years. And then after that, I just went into like regular old journalism. I just never thought that games journalism was ever going to be a thing. I got into journalism because I wanted to be a rock journalist. I wanted to write for Rolling Stone. I wanted to awesome. Be the guy at Almost Famous and just hanging out with bands and stuff like that.
Sick, great movie.
Yeah. And then so now, how did I become a games journalist now? I've been working at the Washington Post for 7 years.
Yeah.
5 of those years was as an audience editor, a social media editor. And that included, like tweeting for the Washington Post, Redditing for the Washington Post, Facebooking for the Washington Post, but also advising different sections on how to reach your audience. So when there was like an interest in covering esports, I was like, oh, let me get in on this. And then let me tell you the first thing, do not just cover esports. You need to cover all of video games because esports is a tough avenue. These esports teams have their own like media machines that are able to disseminate information. So we're going to be competing against that. And I think it would just be better to just broaden it out to more video game coverage. And it's like we should do this, we should do that. And then like eventually like the managing editors were like, well, now we got to hire people for this. I guess we should just hire Gene. He clearly knows everything about like everything about it. So like, and the great thing is that like, the Washington Post is not an easy place to like just like write for. Like it's hard to get an internship there. It's harder to get an internship there than it is to get into like Harvard or Yale. So like to become a reporter there is pretty tough. But fortunately, as an audience editor or social media editor, I was able to like get in good with like other editors, and I would volunteer to write certain stories, and they would see that it would get good traffic. Like I covered one of my favorite internet bands, the Ninja Sex Party.
Never heard of them, but that sounds awesome.
Yeah. That they're a bunch of YouTubers too, and that they cover a lot of like game songs, game related songs. And that story did like huge for like the feature section, and people were like, like I worked on my story for like 6 months, and you wrote a story about the Ninja Sex Party, and it blew my story away. So like little things like that, where they're like, okay, well, Gene has a proven track history. He can write because I've been writing for newspapers for my entire career. I can write fast, and I can write pretty good. I feel that. So after having been able to prove myself at the Washington Post that I can be a writer for the Washington Post, they were like, well, yeah, we should just totally let them cover games. And
That's so awesome.
that's how I got started. And I was like, I can't believe I'm a games journalist now. Like I never thought I never thought I would ever work for the Washington Post. This was
Yeah.
like way beyond like my pay grade. I was really aiming for the LA Times at the most. I was
Yeah.
like, if I get to the LA Times or like Rolling Stone magazine,
Top
like,
of the
that is
mountain,
like my
like-
dream. Yeah, I'm on Valhalla right now.
Yeah.
But like now I'm at the Washington Post. I'm just like, okay, oh, I'm really on Valhalla right now,
Yeah.
So,
That's so awesome.
and to be able to kind of start it for the Washington Post has been a real privilege.
Yeah.
This is really the greatest honor of my life. So
That is awesome. I love your work, dude. I feel like
and
Easy Allies.
I also feel like that I'm kind of living the original dream of hanging out with bands backstage, like covering them, because now like like Ninja Sex Party, I got to hang with them backstage.
Yeah.
Now I get to cover YouTubers because like content creators right now are the real rock stars of today. Guys like you and Easy Allies. Like you're
small friends.
like Ben and you like you guys are like rock stars. So like to be able to like just communicate with you guys and like talk to like other YouTubers and like other content creators and game developers. Like I feel like I am now like a journalist for the rock and roll of today, because video games are the rock and roll of today. Nobody wants to grow up and play bass. That's a great
perspective.
Nobody wants to grow up and play bass anymore. They don't do that. Nobody wants to be a drummer anymore. They want to be a content creator. They want to be on YouTube. They want to be a game dev. They want to be out there. So it's like I'm doing it now. I'm kind of doing it now. I'm doing a better version of what I would have been doing like if I kept to my senses. So
yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's awesome. I was gonna say I feel like Easy Allies is the opposite, because we cover everything except esports. So it's like yeah. Do you remember one of the first games you ever reviewed, like back in your college days?
Oh, I remember the first game I reviewed. It was Virtua Fighter 4.
Sick.
Virtua Fighter 4, and this was when I was like really deep into like the FGC, and like I was like trading I was trading on Virtua Fighter 4. Like I was a huge like Sarah Bryant fan, and like I was like at the top of the charts, like top of the playlist, leaderboards, and everything like that. So Virtua Fighter 4 was the first game like I reviewed, because I was like, dude, I know this game. I can review it for you guys.
Do you still have that anywhere? Or
I think it's still up. I think it's still up somewhere.
I'm gonna track that down. Hell yeah. I'm gonna track that down. I'm gonna put it in the description if I find it.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So Resident Evil, Gene. When did this hit you? How did Resident Evil find you? Because I feel like we all have different tales of when and where and why and how Resident Evil got us. When did it get you?
Mine is kind of boring. I came on the ground floor on Resident Evil 1 back in the day in 1996. And I saw the previews for it in like PSM, like PlayStation Magazine, and I was just like, what is this? What are the graphics on this game? Like it does look like Alone in the Dark, but it looks gorier. And like in 1996, like gore was still fairly new. Like Mortal Kombat was already like happening, and then but like in terms of like just like shooting and like that feedback, like it was only like really Doom that was kind of doing it for a lot of people. And it's like here comes this adventure game that kind of looks like Myst, but not. And then you have a shotgun and a knife and zombies and like
some mansion.
And some like the scary looking house that you get to like walk around in, and there are other characters that you interact with. Are you crazy? Like you can do that in games now,
Yeah.
And then so I think I remember seeing previews of like Final Fantasy VII back in the day too, right? Or like maybe it was already out in Japan or something. No, I don't think it was out in Japan, but I remember seeing previews of Final Fantasy VII. I was like, Final Fantasy VII also looks like the God game. I was like, this looks crazy. And then here comes Resident Evil, and the characters look like actual humans, and they have guns. So it's like I need to play this game. I like Resident Evil 1 was like I need this game.
Yeah.
So as soon as it came out, I just like popped that disc into PlayStation, and I was like completely enamored. I was like, this is everything I thought it would be. The music, I didn't think the voice acting was that bad, because like back then the voice talent was like it was fine. I like they're talking. This is amazing.
Yeah. Yep.
Like kids these days don't understand like the how mind blowing that was.
Yeah. Because there's that perception that like Resident Evil has always been goofy, and it's like I always try to push back on that, because it's like, geez, when I was playing it, like it scared the shit out of me. It was awesome. It was serious, dealing with like bioweapons and conspiracies. So it was like, Yeah, there's like a little bit of like comedic stuff in there, and obviously, the
Mhm.
voice acting can be pretty goofy, but I always took it so seriously.
I did because like that was around the time when like finding notes was a new thing. So like Itchy Tasty
Yeah.
wasn't even funny to me. I was like, oh my God, like that person lost their mind.
Yeah.
I was like, and I'm in the room with them. That's crazy, you
Yeah.
know?
It's like
And
it's
yeah, go
like
ahead.
the environmental storytelling. I mean, that was the first time I ever thought
Yes.
about a game outside of the game was Resident Evil.
hmm
Whereas like
hmm
this is like real life shit happening.
hmm I think any game that makes you think of something outside of the game has really done something to you
Yeah,
fundamentally, you know? Like
for
those are
sure.
probably the most important games, like in your life. And like
Yeah.
yeah, Resident Evil did that to me because it was just dripping with atmosphere, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like you can totally see how like games like Devil May Cry or like Bayonetta or like Children of Resident Evil, because like
Hmm.
really when it came down to it, Resident Evil was style over like actual gameplay, you know? Like they
Yeah.
really presented like this is how the game is going to look, and
Yeah.
like you got to deal with this, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like it looks cool. Like these hallway shots are cool looking. And then when
Yeah.
you just shoot the gun down like towards the screen as opposed to like back there or like to the left or right, that's cool too,
That's
you
so
know?
cool. That was so
So it's
cool.
just like dripping with like Resident Evil doesn't get enough credit for like just dripping with style, you know? It's
Yeah.
like it's a stylish game, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. I got into it on the when the director's cut hit, so before two,
Yeah.
but just a little later. Uh, and I can remember just playing that Resident Evil 2 demo disc
Oh my God.
over and over with my buddy. My buddy really got me into Resident Evil. And yeah, we must have gone through that demo disc like
hmm
40 times.
hmm hmm
Do you remember the like because I was at that point where I was like not able to buy my own games. I was too young, didn't have a job.
hmm
Like like I have a lifetime deal still to this day, Gene, with my mom, where anytime a Resident Evil comes out that first day, she'll come over, we'll talk about it, we'll get hyped.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So like I feel like I'm a little too young to remember like the hype leading to Resident Evil 2 and like Resident Evil 3. Do you remember it? Do you remember the lead up to these
I actually
games?
I actually do not remember the lead up to Resident Evil 2 because shortly
Okay.
after that like I was in high school, right?
Yeah.
So like I was discovering alcohol, drugs, and women. So like at that time, like I just
You were
kind of not paying
distracted.
attention. I was a little distracted. So I discovered Resident Evil 2 like a year afterwards when I was
Yeah.
at a Super Bowl party, and like they were
Sick.
playing Resident Evil 2 in one of the rooms, and I was like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, they came with a part two, and it's in the city now, and you can like the shotgun, you're just like a cop, like, and there's two discs. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 7 had 3 discs. This one has two. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So then like I didn't even watch the game. Like I just
Yeah.
played Resident Evil 2 the whole time. Like it was just I was just like, and then I just got enamored. I was like, oh God, Resident Evil is still it. It's
Yeah.
still it. So then I went out and bought it right away, and I was like, okay, like I
This
just
is
played
it.
the crap out of like A and B and B and A. It just like
Yeah.
I think I do remember that demo though, and I do
Yeah.
remember seeing I do remember seeing some previous shots of like the city, and I was like, okay, that looks really cool. And then
Yeah.
I didn't know when the game came out because I just
Yeah.
wasn't paying attention. And then when the
Totally.
game came out like a year later, I was like, oh, it did come out. And then I got
Yeah.
to play it, and I was like, oh my God, this is
A
so good,
little
so good.
like slower and less information back then. So it was like, oh,
Yeah,
this game is out. What?
yeah. We don't get release date drops and everything like that. You're just like, oh, the game is out now. I guess. I
Yeah.
guess there's a Resident Evil 2. You know.
So hype. So Resident Evil 2, that's my favorite game ever made, Gene, is the original
Mm,
Resident Evil
the
2.
original one. Mm.
Yeah. That is the one. Uh what are your thoughts on kind of that? And obviously Nemesis just
Mhm.
after that, very shortly after. What are your thoughts on that original trilogy
I
before
miss
we
it so
get into
much.
the new era?
I miss it so much. I like when I reached out to you, I was just playing like my 1000th run of Resident Evil remake, and
Yeah.
it's just like, oh my goodness, I know that Shinji Mikami has said that he's a little bit embarrassed because like like it was more of a thing that they had to deal with, rather than anything. But it's like, man, like you guys achieved so much with that mistake, or like with that limitation that you have. That's where the beauty comes in.
Yes,
Within the limitations, they were able to find some kind of something beautiful, you know.
absolutely.
So I just miss like the atmosphere, and like I miss tank controls. I'm fine with
Same,
tank
same,
controls. It's
same.
good. It's
Yeah,
good. It
it
works
is. It
fine.
is.
You know, and it got better in 3 too, you know? So
Yeah.
it's like,
I'm waiting
um,
for the day, dude. Like we live in such an awesome time with video games where like anything is possible, you
Mhm.
know, from new IPs to full-on remakes and revivals. Don't you think the stage is set for like a smaller fixed
yes,
camera
yes,
old school
yes,
Resident Evil? Where is
yes,
that? Do you think we're
yes.
gonna get that?
I hope so, because like, come on, man. Like development can't be that hard now,
Yeah. Like we get so many indie
you know?
games like that now. Like
Yeah.
these Resident Evil
So
tributes, these old school tributes.
yeah, yeah. Just give us that. Just pre-render some fat ass backgrounds, you know.
Yes.
Give us RE engine beautiful characters that are even
Dude.
more beautiful than you can even like imagine,
Yeah.
because
I
like because
can't even imagine it.
because they don't even have 3D backgrounds anymore. So imagine these are just real people like that you get to control, you know.
Yeah.
But with like the lighting effects right now, like with just with what because Capcom is just firing on all cylinders these days,
Yeah.
you know.
They're not
Like
messing
like
around.
we are in like a second golden era of Capcom right now. And
100%.
so like if they were able to really kind of like buckle down with like a good team of like 100 people, 200 people, make a new Resident Evil in that style, like oh my
Yeah.
goodness, like
Dude. Yeah.
fans like us would just gobble it up.
It's
And
my dream. It's my dream. That and
yeah.
obviously Outbreak. We'll get
Oh
that
yeah,
Outbreak one day.
yeah, for sure.
So after the trilogy, we had Code Veronica, kind of this like it always just gets swept aside. Resident Evil Code Veronica kind of just, there are diehard defenders out there where it's like,
Mhm.
Code Veronica is my number one.
Mhm.
But also Code Veronica it is kind of this like black sheep stepchild of
Mhm.
of this franchise. What are your thoughts on the
I
underdog
would
Code Veronica?
Yeah, I would like a remake, but it would have to remake a lot of things. Like it would
Yeah.
have to like get rid of like the gross like Alex like storyline.
Steve
Um,
and the weird
you know,
Steve shit.
Steven needs to like definitely like be either cut out or just like just like changed altogether.
He
You know,
could be such an epic, tragic figure.
yes,
Like him
yes,
remade could be incredible.
yes, yes, yes. Steven is redeemable.
Yeah.
Even the twins are redeemable too. You know,
Yeah.
everything about that game is redeemable,
Yeah.
especially since like we got Chris and Claire in the same game. You know,
Yeah.
like that is a story worth telling, and it's also the first time that we really get to see the genesis of like the Wesker versus Chris like like hatred.
Speaking my language, dude. You're speaking
Exactly,
it.
exactly. Like we're gonna get to Wesker, you know, but like because we really didn't see that in part 1, because like it's only like so that's just like the beginning of like, okay, both endings were canon, right?
Yeah.
Because like
Yep.
Jill and Barry obviously made it out, and Chris and Rebecca obviously made it out, and then Chris
Yeah.
and Wesker obviously hate each other,
Yeah.
you know. And then so like you only really got to see that in Code Veronica,
Yeah.
and
It's
it was
essential.
cool. It's cool. It's important, you know.
Super.
So like I wouldn't mind if they did something with that. I don't know if it's worth their time,
Mm.
given like all the other projects they do. I wouldn't mind if they did that after 4, because I
Yeah.
don't, like remaking 5, like I don't know. Like,
Yeah, that seems weird because like 5 still looks really, really good.
mhm.
But yeah, I would
Five,
love
five,
Code
five is
Veronica.
aged pretty well.
Yeah.
Gameplay wise, it's aged pretty well. You know.
Totally.
And then 6 is his own thing. I love 6. Like don't get me wrong. I absolutely love 6. We can talk about that later too. But like, 6 also looks fine too. So like
Nice.
after we get 4, like if they do want to remake a game, it would probably have to be CV.
Yeah.
But they will have to be a lot more thoughtful about it. And they've been really thoughtful about how they do their remakes. Every single one of them. We just got out of this conversation about the Last of Us remake.
Yeah.
We probably would have the standards wouldn't be so high if Shinji Mikami didn't set that bar so goddamn high with the GameCube version.
Yes, dude.
Ridiculous.
Yes.
Like he just blew all expectations out of the water. It's like, this is the remake.
Yeah. Still probably the best remake ever, like Resident Evil.
Probably. Yeah. Probably still the best remake ever. It arguably only beaten by remake 2,
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah. So I see good old Sonic and Knuckles back there. And
Yeah.
that makes me think, I was I started NES was my origin. And then I went to Sega Genesis because my older brother and I loved Mortal Kombat and we wanted that blood and gore. We wanted that violence.
Mhm.
So that's how we got attached to Sega. So we got that Dreamcast, and that's where we played, Resident Evil Code Veronica.
That's right. I played Code Veronica too. Yeah.
Hell yeah. That Dreamcast hype. Just like, I love Resident Evil because it's like bounced around so many systems, it's just all over.
They're so platform agnostic. Like they do not give a shit about like where their exclusives are,
Yeah.
But I do think of it as like a PlayStation brand first because it
Sure.
broke on PlayStation,
Yeah.
But I also love it on Nintendo because two of the best games came out on the GameCube first,
Yep.
and they were developed first for the GameCube. So
Yeah.
it's like, I do think of it as Nintendo too.
Totally. That early path from like PlayStation to Sega to Nintendo is, it's really cool. So yeah, we got remake 1 and Resident Evil 0. Resident Evil 0 is one of my lesser favorites, Gene, only because it's just it's so ironic that by trying to be more like more, what's the word I'm looking for? They were trying to be like easier by allowing you to drop items everywhere, right? But somehow it's like the most cumbersome Resident Evil game ever.
Yes, it is.
It's like, how did that happen? They were trying to be so convenient with it, and it ended up being like the most inconvenient game.
Yeah, do not remake 0 either, because like story wise, it didn't really do much. Like it's another mansion in the goddamn forest.
Totally.
Rebecca doesn't grow at all.
I know. It's so frustrating.
Yeah. So like the train sequence is awesome. Everybody loves the train sequence.
Hell yeah.
And once you get out of it, you're just like, oh God, like this is terrible.
That'd be cool if like in, if one day, hopefully when the day comes and they remake Outbreak, if the train was a scenario in Outbreak or something.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
You can pull parts of it, and you can even have Marcus Beck come back as the Leech Wizard, and that's fine too.
Yeah,
that's okay. Marcus is still important in the story. It's still important in the lore.
Yeah,
I love the lore of Resident Evil, man. I love it so much. It's
my favorite.
It's my Kingdom Hearts. We even have our own 13 Weskers,
Yeah. Yep. Umbrella is Organization 13. Is
exactly. It's
what is like some of your favorite stuff with the lore? Why do you love this story, this franchise so much? What is it about the lore that gets you?
My goodness, it just goes all over the place. A lot of it is not that well written, right? But
sure.
But like, it's so surprising, like with Village itself, especially kind of like brought me back into that, where it's like, the whole stuff with, spoilers for anyone who haven't finished Village, but you probably wouldn't be listening to this if you weren't a Resident Evil fan. Come on.
Yeah.
But
Village
like,
has been out for a while. We're deep.
Exactly, but with the connection with Spencer and like the roots of like the Umbrella logo and stuff like that, I was like, oh, like I know it's a lore, it's a lore drop at the room, but like I still love that, still love it. I was like, oh, I love this room. It's great,
Yeah, I don't care. I know what you're doing, Capcom. I don't care. I love it. I eat it up.
It's okay. There would be a place where they would have all this stuff in one place, anyways.
Yeah, totally.
And it's cool that Chris found it too, and like that consistency with Chris as a character. The consistency with all these characters that just keep going through crap, because they're keeping the same cast, So there was a YouTuber that came out with a video recently. I think it was the Gaming Brit, where it was like why Silent Hill is such a hard game to make sequels for, because every single game has a different person, and every single person has a different problem. Whereas Resident Evil, there is so much consistency with the character, except for Jill Valentine, that you just feel so comfortable back in it, like even Ethan Winters like still feels comfortable because he kind of tied back into it. And it's so crazy for me. Resident Evil is kind of like holding up the tradition of surprise that Hideo Kojima used to give us, where all of these wacky storylines just happening. It's like you have no idea what's going to happen next. These people are unhinged. Totally. What are they going to do next? It's like these people are crazy.
Yeah.
So like Wesker is crazy. What is Wesker going to do next? You know? And it's like I love your love of Wesker because I love Wesker so much too. I think a big part of lore is Wesker because
100%.
like even in 7 and 8, like I feel like he's still casting a shadow over like the entire
Totally.
series because he's such a large character,
Yeah.
you know, and like even hit the shadow that he cast over the Netflix series, you know,
Yeah.
like and
Which I didn't
you know we
finish.
can
I
talk.
watched like half of it. But
Oh, you gotta finish it. It's
I
so
know.
weird. It's so weird.
Yeah, I got so busy. Like I watched the first like couple, two or three, and I was like, yo, I'm actually into this kinda, like weirdly.
It gets so weird and so tied to the lore later on. Like you need to finish it. It gets
Okay.
insane.
I'm gonna do it. So
It
you just
gets
gave me the push I
it gets
needed.
it gets so insane that I started to like the show a little bit. You know, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
now this is starting to remind me of Resident Evil because this is unhinged stuff right here. You
Yeah.
know?
Dude, that's how I felt about Gotham, the Batman show Gotham, where it was like
Gotham,
it
yeah,
was like fine, and then all of a sudden it got so off the rails and so
yeah.
insane that I was just like, yo, I love this.
Mhm,
Like,
mhm.
yeah, dude.
Yeah. So that's why I was kind of disappointed with the Netflix cancellation. Although, like overall, it's not a great show. You know, like
For
I
sure.
kind of don't care. I kind of don't care about what happens with the characters next.
Guilty pleasure.
But like what they did with Wesker was hilarious. It was just
Yeah.
so hilarious. So
Love
like
Vince Reddick.
I love Wesker so much.
Yeah.
And like yeah, he just like even in 6, 7, and 8, like it's just like when is he gonna come back?
Yeah. When is he gonna come back? Which
Because
brings
he
us
because
now,
yeah.
which brings us to Resident Evil 4, Gene, a
Oh,
very beloved, very important video game, like one of the most important video games I feel like of all time.
all time easily.
Yeah. Changed this series, changed video games, honestly. So
Completely.
important.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this? Because I'm gonna love this. I'm so hyped to hear your thoughts on Resident Evil 4 because this is one of my favorite games ever made, no question. Every Resident Evil is pretty much my favorite game ever made, except 0 and 6. We'll get into 6.
We'll get a 6.
But Resident Evil 4, I still have this feeling of like, yo, I love the fixed cameras. I love the early trilogy. I love Umbrella. And this game is just radically different. How did you feel about booting this thing up, and how do you feel about it now?
Yeah, you know, again with Resident Evil 4, I didn't realize it was coming out until I saw the reviews for it. I saw all the 10, 10, 10s at EGM, and I was like, yo, like Resident Evil 4 getting 10s? Like, okay, I need to play right now.
Here we go again.
Yeah, so I was like, I already have a GameCube. I bought it from Metroid Prime. So it's like, let me just play this. And it just blew my mind. I was like, I could not believe the village sequence, you know?
Yeah.
I was just like this is the most incredible video game sequence I've ever played. And it just, like, for me, the most revelatory part besides the third-person camera was the pacing of Resident Evil 4. And I think that's probably one of the more influential parts of the game. Because like you see that in Uncharted 2, you know? Like the way Uncharted 2 is paced.
Great comparison.
You know? You see that obviously Dead Space completely changed because of Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
But like every time I play a game that's really well paced, I'm like, I see Resident Evil 4 in this, you know?
That is a great perspective. I love that, Gene.
Yeah, because like even the castle, people like complain about the castle, but it's like you have no idea how well paced the castle is too.
Yeah.
Like there are so many like softer moments.
Love
like
the castle. Castle's the best.
With the hallway, with the flowing curtains, and it just gives you like a shooting gallery after like this intense sequence.
Yeah.
It's like the best. One of the best things about Resident Evil design is how they really just let you breathe and then intensify things and then really calm things back down, but like keep things at a pretty nice pace, you know?
Yeah.
They're masters of just putting pressure and like leaving that off. And I feel like Resident Evil 4 was completely that.
Yeah.
You know?
Mikami's thesis, honestly. Like the pressure.
And it just reminded me so much of Pac-Man too. Because
Pac-Man.
Yeah, because like I was like, this is Pac-Man because it's like I'm trying to avoid these ghosts, these zombies.
You're just like gobble up
like the village, and then so like so the power pellet is when I hit them in the knee, and it's like I got my power pellet. I'm gonna kick them in the face and suplex them, and then the entire crowd is gone. Where I have my grenade and I gotta throw it into it. That's my power pellet right there. You know?
Perfect.
So
I have never heard that comparison, and now I will never forget it.
Yeah, I was like, this is just Pac-Man to the nth degree. I was like, this is the best version of Pac-Man I have ever played because I'm just a man fighting ghosts, you know?
I love that. And of course, you know,
Resident Evil 4 is my favorite game of all time, like top 3.
Yeah.
And like those like Zelda Breath of the Wild, Dark Souls 1, and Resident Evil 4 always like interchange between like my favorite games.
Yeah.
Sometimes Resident Evil 4, I play Resident Evil 4 at least every few months.
Hell yeah. So many staples. Like the freaking inventory management, the upgrades, dude, the shot, the shopkeeper, the merchant.
Reloading animations, like with the
Ah.
sniper rifle. Here's my thing. I actually I never upgrade the reloading animations. I
The
never,
reload, yeah,
I never,
same.
I never upgrade reloading because I want it to be as long as laboriously as
Dude, the
possible.
bolt action.
Yeah, the bolt action. I want
So
that to be
sick.
extended. I want it sexy. Go slow, baby. Go slow. You
Yeah,
know?
take longer.
Go slow. Like it helps me with the tension because I know like all the mobs and everything like that, right? So
Yeah.
at least like having slower reloads. So it's like, okay, like I know I got to run a little bit earlier. I got to reload a little faster. I like that tension too. You know.
Yeah. I've talked about this on my show many times, this story of Code Veronica ending with Chris and Claire vowing to take down Umbrella. And then Resident Evil 4 starts, and it's like, yo, Umbrella's gone.
The stocks are down.
They got taken out by stocks.
Yeah.
So that always bugged me. That has obviously been, over the years now, that has obviously been redeemed because, Wesker and Spencer are Umbrella, so I got those payoffs later down the line.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, with 5, right?
Yeah.
Like 5 was huge too,
Yeah, but Wesker in 4 coming back. Do we think we're gonna see him in remake 4, dude? When are we gonna see Wesker?
Dude.
Like when are we?
I saw you and Susie the Spearhead to get hype about this, and like I think you brought up is you're like Wesker in RE Engine. I was like, oh my god, I hadn't even considered that yet.
Sweating at the thought.
He's gonna be so hot. It's gonna be crazy,
Yeah.
And he's such a campy, wonderful character. Like, God, I love him so much.
I can't. So, I can't wait for them to just like expand that, because he is kind of just the man on the chair in 4. He's definitely in the background giving Ada orders, and it's like, yo, let's expand this a little more.
Yeah, for sure. Because it teased so much, that's what drew me back in. I was like, Resident Evil 4, like, oh, it's Wesker again. I'm back in. I love this. There's so much consistency.
Totally.
Oh God.
So I mean, another one of here we go, dude. One of the best things about this franchise is how it always evolves. It is a bioweapon, constantly changing. Like we went from those fixed cameras, we went from those 6 cameras to 4 over the shoulder, and then we get to 5, which is co-op. This game, I love Resident Evil 5 so goddamn much.
I love Resident Evil 5.
Like I play with Brad. Like we've beat this thing so many times. Like the day this came out, I was in college and I was like, dude, we are beating this in one day. We took a lunch break. That was it. And we played this thing until like 4:00 in the morning and beat it in one go.
Yeah, I had a roommate, and this was the time when I was this was around the time where you can keep up with game releases. So I was hyped for Resident Evil 5. I was watching the trailers. I was like, that looks so intense and scary. Like what the hell are they doing? It looks racist, but whatever,
problematic for sure.
Yeah, but they'll figure it out or whatever like that. And it's like, fine, whatever. But it's like, it was so intense, and it's such a good co-op game.
Yeah.
And then
my favorite ever, my number 1 co-op game ever made. I really feel like it. For me personally,
it's so fun. It's so fun. Shev was a great character.
Bring her back.
Bring
Sheva back. Else? My favorite boss fight, Gene, Wesker and Jill, 2v2. What do you think about that fight? It's one of my favorites ever. We finally got to fight Wesker.
Yeah. Because that was so hype. It's like, this is the fight. And he's superhuman Jaguar Wesker too, which is awesome.
Neo.
Yeah.
Dodging bullets.
But Chris punches so fucking hard. so you just get one punch and it's like you only got 7 minutes, but like Chris is gonna take you down in 7 minutes, And then at the end where you just get to shoot rockets at Wesker and Wesker just catches it. Incredible stuff.
Volcano hype. I really hope Sheva comes back. We got a little teases later on that she's working for the BSAA still. Now we got some sketch BSAA plot line. Who knows what's going to happen there? Hopefully Shadow of Rose, shows us a little bit about that, dude. Yeah. We'll close out with that.
Sheva told everybody about the Boulder Punch.
Everyone.
because she was the
Like,
only
yo,
person who
he
to
punched this
witness it.
boulder.
Yeah, so like Heisenberg heard about it. What the fuck, you know?
Yeah,
As soon as Heisenberg said that line in Village, I was like, Sheva told everybody. That's
that
crazy.
is such a great
That
point.
is awesome.
That
Sheva is
is
still
so
around, you know?
good. That is so good.
So that's what I love about Resident Evil, because I like that can happen, and I'm like, Sheva, this character from like 11 years ago, she told everybody. I
Yeah.
made that connection immediately. I was like, I love this series so much.
Yes.
Um,
Connecting those dots, dude. Yes.
but the Mercenaries mode in 5 was so amazing too. You know,
Oh
like
my God. Yeah, we didn't even
was-
talk about it. 4 and 5.
yeah,
Oh my God.
4
Yes.
was incredible too. 4 was incredible too. And then
Oh,
so play it in co-op with 5 with your buddy. Like, dude, you just
all night,
wreck
all
shop.
night long. Yep.
Wreck shop. So I remember I used to like play like 9 Inch Nails like and Pantera, like
Hell
and
yeah.
just like no life like Mercenaries until we would just get the higher scores like the whole time. And
Hell
it
yes.
was just like the mixture of like this industrial metal with like these exploding bodies and like these crazy environments like the waterfront. And
Playing as
that, like,
Krauser with his sick arm.
yeah, yeah.
That one was
You
sick.
know, or even as Wesker, like in 5.
4, yeah.
Like
in 5,
in
yes.
5, the way he would like run through like the zombies, and there was like this one bridge in like one of the African villages where you just like spam that run like over and over again. It just feels so good as an action
So
game.
sick.
You know,
So
it's not
sick.
scary anymore, but like I like the power fantasy is like maxed up to 11. You know,
Yeah.
oh god.
Love those games. 4 and 5. So phenomenal. Which
And
brings
the
us
story,
Gene.
the story in 5 is so hilarious too. Like there was that weird like you know like scientist guy or whatever with that weird accent, with that weird Brooklyn accent.
Oh
like-
yeah, this guy.
yeah, this guy, yeah,
I
you know?
forget his
Yeah.
name. Yeah.
I totally forgot his name, and I even totally I'm blanking on his line, but like I was like, who the hell is this guy?
Oh, I forget his name. Damn it. But
Oh
that
my God.
lore drop of one of the most insane lore drops of all time is in 5. When you do find the Umbrella logo down there, the researcher who's in charge of the like African umbrella company is the guy in charge of the organization, the connections in 7 and 8. It's insane.
Yeah, with Trisol and everything like that, and also the connection back to the virus in 4 too.
Yeah.
You know? It was like they try it's
So
so
tight.
messy. It's so messy, but they try really hard to connect everything, right? And it's like I
Totally.
love their attempt at doing it, and it's fun. It's so much
Yeah.
fun, you know.
Absolutely. Which brings us to 6, Gene. You say you love this game. I have tried so many times. I've given it so many fair shakes. I've beat it, co-op numerous times. I beat it solo once.
Mhm.
I love Helena Harper,
Mhm.
and
She deserved better.
she deserved better. I like
Mhm.
Piers. I like some of the game. What really hurts 6 for me the most
Mhm.
are the combat encounters. I
Mm.
just don't think they reach the same level as 4 and 5.
They don't, because
Yeah.
like you like objectively. Okay, so I do have a Resident Evil rankings up on Washington Post, and
Nice.
Resident Evil 6 is at the bottom.
Okay.
Even though I love the game,
Yeah.
it is still the worst Resident Evil game. You know,
do you have
because it is-
0 above it?
I have 0 above it. You know.
Oh wow. I have 6 above 0.
Oh, no kidding. That's crazy.
Yeah.
For me, because Resident Evil 0 still feels like a Resident Evil game, right?
Sure.
And 6 is barely a Resident Evil game, besides having all the characters, you know.
Yeah.
And the son of Wesker, for Christ's sake.
God.
But back to the combat encounters.
Yeah.
The helicopter.
Yeah. Like the Michael Bay one, like that
The
shit.
helicopter, the helicopter, you just like shooting up at it, like as Chris appears, and it's
Yeah.
like, this is such a bad like combat design.
Yeah.
Like the snowstorm with Jake and Sherry,
Yeah.
like that was just such bad game design.
Yeah, I think of even it should have been a slam dunk, and I think the encounter in the gun shop very early on, the city's
Very
going
cool.
to hell, and it's like, all right, let's do this Resident Evil 2 cross Resident Evil 4
4 thing,
scenario
yeah.
here, and we have to defend this gun shop, and it's just
Mhm.
like you just stand at the window and they
Mhm.
come in and you're just like bang, and they come in,
Yeah.
it's like Yeah,
Yeah,
there's no
yeah.
adrenaline, there's no tension. It's so weird.
Yeah, because you're just kind of floating in, and even like the impact of the bullets and the zombies are like a little bit
Yeah.
lighter, you know? Like
Yeah.
you don't get that satisfying splash with 4 or like
Yeah.
the thud of the punches with 5 or whatever, you know? With
Yeah.
6, it's just like it's here's the reason why I like 6 so much, because it's the closest thing we have to those crazy 3D anime movies, you know, with like Vendetta and Damnation.
Totally.
And it's like aesthetically and like action wise, like this is it is very much in line with those movies. So
Yes.
I like watching those
Infinite
stupid movies.
Darkness. Yeah.
Infinite Darkness with the Netflix show, exactly.
Yeah.
Like I like watching that stupid stuff and then playing Resident Evil 6, and it's like, oh yeah, now I get the consistency in like what they were trying to do here, you know.
Gene, you're full of really great perspectives. You know, next
Mhm.
time I do, because I'll always play it. I'll always play the whole franchise, you know, my whole life.
Mhm.
The next time I boot up 6, I'm gonna have a little double feature or something with
Yes.
Degeneration and Damnation. You
Yes,
know,
yes.
maybe start there and then dive in. That is a great idea.
It's a good palate cleanser after seeing Leon and Chris like wipe out those whole zombies with like the gun kata and everything.
Yeah.
Like, it's like these ridiculous fight scenes that are really fun to watch. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, and then now you go into the game and you get to play as Leon doing all that stuff. And it's like, okay, well, like I kind of get the power fantasy now. I kind of feel that now, you know?
That's
And
dope.
it's like, okay, I'll suffer through the little bit boring combat parts. And I didn't really love 6 until I played Mercenaries. Like 4 and 5, I loved right away, right? And then Mercenaries like cemented my love for the combat, right? It was Mercenaries 6 after I beat the game co-op, and I was like, okay, well, that was kind of a fun co-op game. Let's try
Yeah.
Mercenaries. And then that's when like the expansiveness of the combat system, being able to
Yeah.
like shoot, roll, like
Jumping
punch and
around. It is
elbow
sick.
out,
Yeah.
like it's so sick. And then
It
once
is.
you like level up
Melee.
your character to like having enough melee, so you just like melee all the time.
Yeah.
It's really, it feels really good. It's a great action game.
Yeah.
Just held down by like really stupid plot and like these really bad counter designs that repeat themselves throughout
Yeah.
the 3 campaigns. That sucks,
100%.
you know.
100%.
You have to play the helicopter part twice, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like
last time I talked about it, I joked it went from like a 4 out of 10 to like a 5.5 out of 10. So it's climbing up in the ranks as
yeah.
because another reason I'm like more grateful for Resident Evil 6 these days
Mhm.
is because I feel like because of this game, we got
Yes.
Revelations and Resident Evil 7.
7.
We went back to those roots. You know, I want to give a quick shout out to Revelations as well, 1 and 2.
Revelations, yes.
absolutely love
It's
those
same
games.
director as 7 too. So like
Yes.
like the start of 7 started with Revelations. The
Yeah.
DNA of 7 started with Revelations.
Yeah, a
And
whole
I was-
new era.
Mhm. And I was playing Revelations lately, and I was like, man, they really tried to really mix the two
Yeah.
together. And then Revelations 2 feels a little bit closer to 6, actually. to be
God,
quite honest,
I
you know?
love Revelations 2 so much. One of my favorites.
Because the combat feels good in that one too. It feels better
Mhm.
than 6, kind of. At least the shooting feels better than 6, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get to 7.
7.
I'll
Another
tell you what.
reinvention for this franchise, dude.
I'll tell you what, the first time I played 7 was in VR, and that was a bad
Yeah.
mistake. Because it scared the shit out of me. That I was like, I'm not gonna play this. I think I was at a really like dark time of my life where it's like, okay, I don't need this. Like Mia attacking me like that is just like way too freaky, you know.
Yeah.
And like I didn't play the kitchen demo, so like the whole kitchen like videotape scene was like new to me.
Yeah.
So like when I played it, I was like, this is scary, and it was like, oh my god, they're doing Blair Witch. I was like, I gotta go downstairs. I was like, this is all horrifying. Like they really made it scary again to the point where I can't even play it right now, you know.
Yeah.
And like that, this was after PT, obviously, right? Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like PT, I couldn't finish too, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like this like the hallways remind me too much of PT. Like Jack Baker is freaking me out. Like I can't play
Yeah.
this. So I only played it for the first time last year, completely through.
Because you were just
And
too freaked out.
I was too freaked out, and I was like, okay,
Wow.
I played Village. I was just yeah, I know.
I love this. Yes.
Yeah. And then it's not like, so just last month, in the past month, and this is what got me talking to you, is like I finally was able to get infinite ammo for Village, or not Village, for 7.
Yeah.
I was able to get it under 3 hours. I was like, yes, I did it. Like,
Nice.
I still got it, you know. And I was able to
Yes.
conquer the game. It doesn't freak me out anymore. Like I know this is a Resident Evil game through and through. I love it.
7 is aging so well. I feel
It's
like,
so
yeah,
good. Like, yeah, I again, like I played it. I had such a grand time. It's so different from 8 too.
yeah,
But it really does remind me of the first game. You know, it really does feel
totally.
like, and like I love that it's in first person because like then it starts to feel like, okay, this is the original version of Sweet Home that they wanted to make. You know,
Yeah,
because we all know that Resident Evil Biohazard 1 was supposed to be
yeah,
a remake of Sweet Home, and Shinji
yeah,
Mikami wanted it to be first person, and they couldn't do that.
yeah,
And it's like now we have our Sweet Home, and it's like I
yeah.
think I think that's a beautiful thing to like. So when I play
It's
Biohazard, and then, like I
totally a
just
new
think it's
beginning.
so brilliant that they in Japan it's called Biohazard Resident Evil. That makes so much more
I love
sense.
it. I love it so
That makes
much.
so much more sense, you know. And then
Yeah,
the seven still works in the Z, and it's like, oh my god, like how
I
did you
love
do
it.
this, you know?
That is the best title. I
How
love
did
it
they
so
plan
much.
all that? That's genius. That's
It is
crazy. How did it?
seriously, whose idea was that? Whose idea? Resident Evil
How did it
Biohazard,
all fall
Biohazard
into
Resident
place? How did it all fall into
Evil.
place like this? That's crazy, you know?
Perfection. And just wow. We didn't talk about it, but like Resident Evil 5 having that DLC, dude, Lost in
Oh yeah,
Nightmares,
yeah. Lost in
how
Nightmares.
sick that is. And then obviously
Yeah,
7, all of that DLC, just a ton of DLC from like
yeah.
meaningful story stuff with Chris to just like weird, bizarre mini games with Jack. I loved what they did there.
Mhm. And finishing the stories that they started in 7, which is kind of what we're seeing in Village too, you know, like
Yeah.
Village's DLC is finishing Rose's story. And it's like,
Yep.
you know, I kind of like this approach where it's like
Yeah.
there's continuity, but it's not breaking up what they might have to do with the next game,
Yeah.
which it's probably they're gonna have to reinvent themselves again, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, God, what are they gonna do for Resident Evil 9? This is why I love the series, because it's like I
Seriously.
have no idea what to expect from Resident Evil
Seriously.
9. Any other series, you can be like, okay, well, like even with God of War,
Yeah.
tremendous series, right? I know what God of War Ragnarok's gonna be like. I have a basic inkling the story's gonna go this way, the story's gonna
Basic
go that way.
framework. Yeah.
Yeah, the framework is there, right? You have no fucking idea where the next game's gonna
No
go.
clue.
When you saw the Village trailer, you were like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah. What the hell? Yeah. What the hell?
When
My
you saw
only
when you saw Seven's trailer, you're like, "What the hell is this?" You know?
yeah, I know. Never in my wildest dreams would I've ever thought Resident Evil 7, you'd be playing as this like random character in a backwoods, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibe. Like I
Love-
never thought ever we would get that. And we did,
yeah.
and it's incredible.
I think Ethan Winters is such a special character too.
Yeah, I love the Winters. Yeah.
I wrote an ode to Ethan Winters, the tragedy of Ethan Winters, Resident Evil's village idiot. That's the headline of the story.
I feel like I read that.
And yeah, and I love him so much because he is like a Silent Hill 1 character stuck in a Resident Evil game. And it's like this every man who's like kind of like goofy and foppish.
Yeah.
And like he just ends up in like the madness of the Biohazard series, you know?
Yeah.
And like the whole time he's going like, what the fuck is going on? Oh my god. And it's like I just love how he's just like completely like flustered and like just like powering through it, you know?
Yeah.
And
I really loved him in Village.
even in 7, he's so goofy where like Zoe like tells him what to do and he says, "What a gal." I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude?
What a gal. Yeah, what the hell?
I was like, why would you say that, Ethan? Like
that is hilarious.
so like even the weird like sayings that he would say in Village, like they started in 7, you know? Like he's always been like this. He's always been such a weirdo, you know?
Yeah. And just I love how like what a genius move. Like I always like small scale stuff more than large scale. You know, the bigger things get, the less stakes there are for me, you know? So it's like, I like Fellowship of the Ring versus, you know, Return of the King. It's like, I love that the small, intimate vibes.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like so nervous because it was just like, yo, Resident Evil 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, like just kept getting bigger and bigger and escalating and escalating. And it's like, they found a way to put the genie back in the bottle, so to speak. And like, now we're into this like spycraft era of Resident Evil, which I love, which has always been there too. You know, you have hunk and organizations and everything, but I feel like now instead of like T-Rexes in the street and buildings blowing up, it's more like, how do we infiltrate sneakily, like stealthily, and not cause mass damage to places? So I just love how they did that with 7 and Village, like the Metamycete and all that. And
Yeah. Because six and even the again back to Infinite Darkness and
Yeah.
like Damnation and Vendetta, like
It's
they were just large
insanity.
scale apocalypses happening everywhere. You know,
Yeah.
so it's like okay, I guess it's like COVID, but like times like 100 or something like that. You know,
Yeah.
which is interesting because like there are also interesting parallels to COVID where it's like okay,
Yeah.
like these are acceptable amounts of deaths for
Dude.
society, and we just have to deal with it. You know.
Dark. Yeah.
Um, it's dark, but
Yeah.
even in like the goofiest parts of Resident Evil, there's still like salient to like what's going on in the world today, you know.
Totally.
But like the
Totally.
fact that they were able to like reel that back into like Chris being like being this subterfuge person,
Yeah.
being basically hunk
Yeah.
like 5.0 or something, you know.
Yeah. And like
Um,
Evelyn and stuff. It's like kind of like a ghost in a way. Just, yeah,
mhm,
really cool.
mhm. Yeah.
Which brings us to Village, dude. Here we are about that was a year ago now, Village.
Mhm. Village blew
How,
my mind.
how are you feeling a year later? The dust has settled. DLC is a week or two away now.
Shadow of Rose.
So hyped. What do you think about Village a year later? And we didn't even talk about remake 2 and 3. Oh my god.
Oh my God, remake 2 and 3.
We got to talk about remake 2 and 3 first.
What is there to
How dare
say?
I? How dare I?
Yeah, I know.
I
God, when
actually
remake 2,
really want your take on remake 3. We'll get into that in a second. I
sure.
really want your thoughts and your takes. I get very defensive about remake 3. We'll talk
I like
about it.
remake 3. I like remake 3.
Awesome.
At first I didn't like it. Well,
Yeah.
at first I did not like it. Like I loved it, of course, right?
Yeah.
But like I was disappointed in like, you know, like the streamlining of Nemesis and everything like that.
Yeah.
But then I started to kind of get it, where it's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, one, like it seemed like they had a limited time. But
Yeah.
also two, I think that they did a really good job like heightening the sense of Nemesis without really, you know, repeating like the pursuer like trope like that they did so well with Mr. X in part two.
Yeah.
So like I do appreciate remake 3 as its own thing.
Yeah.
It's still so fun to play.
Yeah.
Like it's a great Jill game, which we don't have these
Yes.
days, you know?
Yes.
So
She
it's
carries
like
it. Her and Carlos.
Carlos is also great
And
too. Like I
Nikolai
barely
is so fucking sick in that game.
you hate Nikolai so much, you know?
Yeah.
Like he's a great villain. Like the environments look amazing. Like the ray tracing. Like I just played it recently with the ray tracing. I was like, oh my god, this looks amazing.
Hell
Like
yeah.
I feel like I'm playing a movie right now. You know,
Yeah.
it's like I love that feeling. You know.
Yeah. Because you know, people always criticize, it's like, yo, they cut content, and it's like, well, they like made all this new stuff. Like this is a remake, but like they made it all. Like they added content too. Like
Yeah, they did. I missed the clock tower. That's probably
sure.
like my lasting sticking point where it's like, okay, well,
For
they still
sure.
could have put the clock tower in.
Yeah,
But
I think it
feels
would
like
have gone over so much better if the clock tower was there. That really bummed people
if
out.
the clock tower was there, then I think like a lot of people like wouldn't care as much.
Yeah,
You know,
for
but
sure.
otherwise, I still love it because it's such a good Jill game. You know,
Yeah,
and
she's the best.
Jill
in it.
moves amazing,
Yeah,
and like you see the progression of like you once again see the clear progression of like, okay, Resident Evil 1, they're completely caught off guard by all this, right?
yeah,
Resident Evil 2, you got the rookie cop, and then Resident Evil 3, Jill is a seasoned veteran now, and she
Yeah.
can dodge and shoot, and she can survive the city on her own, you know.
yeah.
And then with 4, you get Leon's the biggest glow up in video games ever, from rookie cop to, you know, sexy
James Bond style.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he's basically
this impossible man, you know,
Yeah.
like who's incredibly handsome and like he does everything and he's got a joke for everything.
totally.
So you continue, you see that with Jill too. Like you see that
Yeah.
evolution with Jill. It's like, okay, she's a seasoned veteron, but she's not quite Leon yet, you know.
Yeah. And I like how
But
she
that's
was
why
like dealing with the trauma this time around too, like tapping into
Yeah.
that. I love that. Like
Yeah,
punished
yeah.
Jill.
Punish Jill, yes.
Yeah, I just love the momentum of that game. I love them.
Yeah.
It's like it reminds
I
me
love
of
the
like
momentum.
Die Hard or something. It's got this 90s like pulpy action movie. It's like, you know, one long night. It's like,
Yes,
let's
the way
go.
you're talking about it right now, I'm gonna play it like right after we talk because like
Yes.
it does feel like a good action movie. It feel
Yeah.
again, it goes back to like how well fucking paced these games are, you know?
Yes.
So like maybe they took out the clock tower because like they couldn't figure out the pacing. It's like, okay, if they couldn't figure it out, then that's fine because the game is still great.
Yeah.
You know?
Great
fine.
point. Yeah.
You know?
And remake 2, of course. Just
Remake 2
here
is
we
just
go
brilliant.
again. Just
Brilliant.
like
Again, they did it again.
again,
And
again.
again.
I don't understand it. I don't understand. Capcom. I don't understand.
What are they doing over there? Where it's like, why are like the Zelda series isn't this good and consistent, to be quite honest, you know? So that's why I tweeted the other day. I was like, I think Resident Evil is actually my favorite series.
Yeah.
Because like I can't even find this kind of excitement and consistency and quality and like this groundbreakingness in the Zelda series.
Yeah, because Zelda, Breath of the Wild now, but 5 years ago, when it's like, yo, that's fine. I can wait like for a 10 out of 10. Sure. Every Zelda game to me is a fucking 10. But like for Resident Evil to just pump out so many of these games that are this good so quickly is mind-blowing.
Just the fact that Resident Evil is just like another thing I love about the series is just the fact that like you just can't keep this fucking series down, man.
Yeah.
Like it would always keep coming back up like a zombie, you know. It's like like you said, it's a bioweapon. You know?
It is. You
can't kill it, and it doesn't have a weak spot except for like its own ego, which is also the same, which is also the same problem that like like Birkin and like all these other guys had, Extella and Wesker, like their ego took them down, and that's what it did with 6, you know.
Yeah.
And then so they just brought it back down with 7, and then with RE2, oh my goodness, like I was actually more excited for RE2 remake than Final Fantasy 7 remake, you know.
I mean, I like Resident Evil the most, so like for me too.
Yeah.
Like for sure.
Like I always felt like we needed to see the city burning again, and we need to experience it again with third person shooter combat, and oh my goodness, like, and the music, the original music from RE2, like I was playing it recently, I was like, I cannot believe how well the music still works for RE2 remake. It works completely. It has not aged at all.
That final Birkin fight when the choir comes in, it's just like, dude, too intense. So
the
good.
safe room, the hallway with the liquors, like all of that, all of those songs still hit so good. They really hit the nail on the head with the soundtrack in the beginning of the series, right at the beginning of the series. They had everything right at the beginning, you know.
Shout out to Wet Gore. I love it so much.
Yeah. The way the splat, the way the zombies go splat. Oh my goodness, it's just so satisfying.
Yeah,
it's such a satisfying game.
So Village, I love that Village is like 4 kind of games in one. You know, you got your little open world village areas. You got your castle, like pursuer vibe. You got your House Beneviento, like PT Silent Hill vibe. You got your weird Tetsuo the Iron Man machine horror cyberpunk like blah.
I loved Heisenberg's Factory. Like I know some people didn't like it, but
I didn't like it at first, but it definitely grew on me. It did grow on me. It did have to grow on me eventually, where I was like, okay, you know what? I kind of see where they're going with this, right?
Yeah. It was long in my initial run. I was like, okay, this is kind of lasting for a while, right? Like maybe the pacing isn't that great this time, right? But like I did kind of like appreciate what they were doing there, and I was like, okay, this is obviously the lab portion of the game, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like I kind of like that they kind of really try to go different with it like this, and it reminds me of Half-Life 2's Combine like tower, you know, with the creepy like zombies and everything like that. So like anything that reminds you of Half-Life 2.
Quick shout out to the upgraded gravity gun. My God, fuck, it's so sick.
Yeah. and like just the fact that Chris gives you like a polymer tank at the end, just like it's ridiculous. I love it so much, and I love the fight with Heisenberg. It was just it was completely off the rails, but like I was like, okay, I know they're trying to become like 6 again, and it's like 6 is like threatening to like just like pounce through, like the ego is just trying to like punch through, you know. And it's so interesting to see that like the series struggle with that, you know. I find it fascinating more than like frustrating, you know.
So we had kind of a ghost vibe in 7, and just a little bit like shades of like ethereal ghostly spirits. And then Village, we got werewolves and basically vampires. Anything you'd want to see moving forward in Resident Evil? Any horror elements or tropes that they haven't done? Like mummies, maybe? Resident Evil 9 is mummies? Like
mummies, or gosh, what else? I don't know. I haven't really thought about that much. Like
a sick mummy Resident Evil game would be fucking rad.
Yeah. Go back to Africa again, you know, like try that again, you know, explore the origins of the progenitor virus, because again, like that's where they got it, even in 8, you know. They were still talking about what the virus that they found in 8, you know. So yeah, I don't know where they're gonna go with this.
Yeah.
Because like, like now we find out with Shadow of Rose, like that it was a time skip. It wasn't Rose being aged up, like she's not Solid Snake where she's like aging
Yeah.
like super quick.
Fox die or some shit. I was like,
Yeah,
yeah, what
there's
is
no
yeah.
Fox Eye shit. No, she grew
Yeah.
she grew into being 16. So like we're gonna see a 66-year-old Chris, It's
Yeah.
like, oh man, like
I
what
know.
is going on in the Resident Evil world then,
Yeah. I am super hyped with like a speck of nervousness with that because the time jump, it's like
Yeah,
how
yeah.
old are our characters going to be? Like
Mhm.
when they said this is the end of the Winters story, that raised the stakes for me considerably.
Yeah.
I'm not. I was initially kind of just like, oh, cool, more DLC, like it'll be fine. A couple hour like little mini campaign with Rose, cool, like. But then they said that, and I was like, okay, this is like Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 8.5 in a way, kind of feels
Yeah,
like.
yeah. And that's why I have no idea what to expect for 9. I have no idea where they could go anywhere with the goddamn story.
Yeah.
And that's kind of exciting and scary at the same time. But it's like I have
Yeah.
so much trust in the way they're handling this series now. So it's
Mhm.
like whatever they come out with, Resident Evil Fixture or whatever
Yeah.
name they're gonna come up with.
Yeah. I was hoping, I hope we get like, and maybe even in the DLC we will. I was hoping for some Devil May Cry vibes with Rose, where she's just like casting powers, like super like Stranger Things, just like ripping people in half with
11
telepathy.
and everything,
Yeah.
And Ethan Winters was basically Dante in terms of like how many times he gets stabbed, come on, Ethan Winters was basically not cool Dante, where it's like Dante is getting stabbed this whole time. It's like, oh, come on, little pup. And then Ethan Winters is like, oh, god damn it. Oh,
I stabbed again. What the hell?
Yeah. What the fuck?
Yeah. Why the hell does this keep happening?
Yeah.
I love when
I cracked up so much when he said that. I was like, dude, why is it happening all the time, man?
It's like my favorite line, dude.
And then like they wiped out all the villagers. And I was like, oh, okay. So I guess we really are just alone. Because like when we saw the trailer, we're like, oh my god, are there gonna be NPCs around that we can interact with? And it's like, no, not really. Like Ethan is all by himself in his village. What did you think about Village's scope? Because going back to what you said earlier about scale and like you like the smaller scale, but Village expanded it pretty greatly. But like I feel like it was still contained, right?
Yeah. I feel like it was kind of the best of both worlds, dude. Because it was really big, but it had those like small focused areas, like the castle and Beneviento. And I know people don't like replaying Beneviento because you're just kind of going through the motions, but I still really like it.
Dude, it lasts for like 3 minutes once you like know like what to do, So like I get that like you have to like go through it again, but like whatever. And again like from a critic's perspective, I still appreciate doing it because I still appreciate what they did during that whole sequence.
Totally.
Like again, going back to like these guys being the masters of pressure. Like that was just such a masterstroke of like how they're like I love watching LPs of like people going through it for the first time because like you see the closets, and they can open and close, and like 30 minutes passed and you still haven't needed to use those closets. And you're like, oh my god, what is gonna happen next?
Totally.
And the doll of Mia being there, and you're like, oh my god, the doll's gonna come alive, and it never does. Like all the ways that it just plays with your expectations, and like of course the actual reveal of the monster, and I was like, I couldn't even look at it. It was frightening. I was like, this like I
want to do that in VR, dude.
Yeah, dude, PT was the scariest thing I ever played, but like that Beneviento like is pretty much at the second, like right there, I was just like I was about to shit my pants,
It's one time I was just like, take me. It just like swallows you whole. I was like, just take me, dude.
Oh my god.
And then so yeah, I mean Village is about to wrap up in 2 weeks, and then it's full steam ahead for Remake 4.
I just can't even believe that they're even making a third person perspective for Ethan, and they're like redesigning the whole game around the third person perspective. They give animations like jump over shit
so
for him to get bitten. We're gonna see his face,
It's a lot of effort put into that for sure. I feel really good for my buddy. My buddy loves Resident Evil, but the first person kind of gives him motion sickness a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm hyped for him to be able to just like, dude, swap it over to third person now.
Yeah.
So
I cannot wait. And then also like Ethan is like more like he can fight back a little bit more. So like
yeah,
kind of gives you like that Resident Evil 4 vibe too again, you know. But
yeah.
it's so good. But yeah, we're gonna finish. We're finishing the story in 2 weeks. I
Hyped.
cannot wait.
I can't wait. I can't.
I cannot wait to play it in third person. Honestly.
Same, same. And I feel like there's going to be at least one big bombshell in the Shadow of Rose DLC.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Like we wake up and it's like Evil Within vibes. We're in like some kind of machine or something.
Yeah.
And they're like,
I like. I'm sad about the merchant, the Duke, being kind of a villain here. But it kind of raises the mystery of like what role did he have in the first game? Like, was he trying to like take down the four lords? You know?
Yeah.
And then like now this is a chance, or is it just like, you know, like a memory of him in the Mega Mycete or whatever? You know? But
Totally.
it feels like a story of like
unreliable narrator or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like a story of like Rose trying to find Ethan, you know,
Yeah.
her dad, like within the memory of the Mega Mycete. And then you see the
Yeah.
other Rose, and it's like that's Evelyn. That's Evelyn. For
Freaking
sure.
what is it?
Or Eve, I'm sorry, Eve.
Yeah.
That's Miranda's daughter right there.
Yeah.
You know?
It reminds me of like Aqua going into the darkness. Like, hey, let's go, dude.
Yeah. What do you think of Miranda as a villain?
She was good. There wasn't enough. There's not enough for me to like fully get invested, but I did like her overall.
I did like her too.
Yeah.
I did.
But
like
I definitely could have gone for more of that Spencer connection. Like, give me some of those scenes.
They could have given us a little bit more, and then she could have been a little bit more present in the game as opposed to like at the beginning and then just at the end where she just literally rips her heart out, you know. And it's like,
hopefully this DLC gets some of that.
Yeah. And like once we started seeing her, she was fun, you know.
Yeah. And she had cool powers. I like her boss fight.
Yeah, cool. She was super hot. I didn't even realize that until. Yeah, I didn't realize that until she ripped out Ethan's heart. I was like, wow, she's really pretty too. I was like, and then you forget everyone's hot in Resident Evil, actually, right?
Leon just raising the bar just so high.
Like Jill, Claire, like even Chris, like everyone just like a total hot like hottie. So that's why I was like, why am I surprised that Miranda's also hot? Like, you know. And then but then she was such a heel, like you know, say, this is my baby, you know. Like this is kind of fun. Like
Rose is my goddamn child.
Yeah, that's what Ethan said.
Yeah.
Yes, we know, Ethan. Like you've been saying it this whole time, but yeah.
Okay. So wrap it up, dude. Lastly, Resident Evil 4 remake, man. Like Resident Evil is clearly one of the biggest franchises, you know, in the business. I mean, it's $1 billion movie franchise. And $1 billion gaming franchise. I mean, without a doubt, one of the biggest series of all time. But I feel like when the idea of them remaking 2 and 3 was nowhere near the pressure of remaking Resident Evil 4. What are your hopes? What are your expectations for Remake 4 coming out next?
I was not into the idea of remaking RE4 until I saw the trailer, and it was specifically the shot of the monks in the castle.
Yeah,
right. I was like, that's it right there. I was like, I think they nailed it right there. Where like okay, they were obviously going to go more grim and serious. And I was like, okay, I want to see more of that because I do think that you can explore that differently and interestingly and still make it cool and weird and fun. And also scary as shit, you know.
Yes.
And then like seeing like Ashley like running down the village itself, and like, you know, like I think they got it. I was like why did I doubt them in the first place?
Yeah.
It's weird.
They don't miss.
Yeah, like they haven't been missing. So it's like it looks like that they're gonna get 4 correctly. I'm so excited for a more action oriented Resident Evil again. Because like it's cool to like knife with like Resident Evil 2, and I love the visceralness of being able to shoot in third person.
Yeah.
But I missed the martial arts actions of 4, 5, and 6. Like,
you want to suplex some fools. You want to drop kick people.
To be quite frank, I want to pop some zombie heads. I want to pop a lot of them with my feet. With my feet, I want to be kicking them. I want to be punching them. And I'm excited to see what they do with Leon and like whether they bring back the system in 6. Can he back roll? Can he dodge back, or is he? Are we just gonna keep moving? Is it gonna be closer to 5 maybe? Which is still exciting.
Yeah.
Because 5 is still fucking fun to play.
Hell yeah.
I would still play 5 and have a great time. So if they bring Chris Redfield movements into Resident Evil 4 remake, I was like, that's still fantastic.
Yeah.
You know.
For
with
sure.
the graphics that we saw and everything like that, and like the story moments, you
Yeah.
know, like being able to see Salazar again,
Yeah. Oh my God. Show him. Show him. I want to see him. I want to see Krauser. I
and
want to see Wesker. I
yeah,
want to see
and the U
all of
weapon, and the weapon at the bottom, where you gotta freeze him and everything like that. Like there's
Mhm.
so many moments that you could just play with there.
Yeah.
Even the house with Luis,
Yeah.
like that
Oh
part
my
too.
God. That encounter, dude. One of the
You
best
know,
encounters.
yeah, just some magical encounter, and even the encounter after that, where you have to go into the two different paths. That part fucking
Yes.
rules too.
You drop the rocks on the
Yeah, you drop the
troll,
rocks
dude.
on the troll, or you go through the five chainsaw sisters. Like that shit rocks, man.
Yep.
And then you go to the castle. That shit is so cool.
So
You know.
tight. Oh my God. I'm not
And then
ready for remake 4. Where's the
I'm not
demo?
ready. I'm not ready for remake 4. I cannot wait because
We'll
this
probably get a
again.
demo in like January, maybe, hopefully, like a couple months
I'm not
before.
even sure if I want to play the demo because it's because I'm probably gonna be like you. I miss demos, man.
Yeah.
Like when you were talking about playing the RE2 demo, like I was like, man, I remember when I played the MGS2 tanker demo like over and over again. And it's like this is all I need. Like this is 30 minutes of gameplay, and I could just like do it over and over again.
Yeah.
But again, this is why I like Resident Evil so much because these games are so quick. I can beat Resident Evil 7 in 2.5 hours.
Totally.
That is so amazing. And for me, mentally, like, I think you've talked about this before with your colleagues about how cozy Resident Evil feels.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm exactly that same way. Resident Evil feels so cozy for me. Where it's like I know the steps, I know what to do. It's like I always liken it to a Rubik's cube.
Absolutely.
It's just like a little stress ball or something where I can just like do over and over again. It's like, oh, well, I did it, and I feel great. So
and those first couple playthroughs like take a bit longer, but you're still like figuring things out. Yeah, just like getting better and better and better at it is so fun.
Because you're literally putting things into place where they should be.
Yeah.
Resident Evil is all about putting things into place where they should be. Like this diamond here into that arm. You put the scepter here into that place. It feels so good. And in between that, you smash some zombie heads.
Yeah.
So like I can't wait to see what RE4 remake is going to do because like I played RE2 remake so much. I played RE3 remake a little bit less because it's much more straightforward action game. Yeah. But RE2 remake still has those puzzles, that are even easier to do than before. But like it makes it better,
Yeah, it's so streamlined for sure. Yeah, and I loved in Remake 3 all the difficulties, like Inferno mode and all that. It was so fun. It's like just keep ratcheting up the difficulty. Gene, this has been incredible gushing about this franchise. Resident Evil, dude. Final thoughts on this series, what it means to you, just overall, your final thoughts.
I feel like I said everything I need to, it's just like it really is hands down my most beloved series. Like I can't get over how much I love every game, even 6, even the bad ones, except for 0. Because 0 is not one that I want to replay, but 6 I'll replay, especially if you get like all the upgrades and like you just like infinite ammo through it, then that's fun,
Yeah.
I love the fact that this series is always giving you infinite ammo. Like I love that it gives you like achievements to go through and like it rewards you for it. I love being able to know, okay, I'm gonna play Resident Evil 7 on Madhouse to get infinite ammo.
Hell,
that was hard. That was hard.
It's intense.
That was really hard. Like it reminded me of playing Resident Evil back then, where I was like, okay, I'm really being pushed here. I really gotta like worry about like what I have here. Like how I miss that feeling. It's like, okay, I only have this amount of ammo. I have this one. I gotta shoot this person 3 times. Run over here. Do that. It's like, oh my goodness, I love that strategy. I love being able to figure things out that way. And it's like, I love that you get rewarded for it. And you just and then again, that push and pull of the power fantasy. I get to run through the game again with the Wesker gun, just pow, pow, pow.
Yes.
Infinite ammo. It feels so good because this is my reward for sitting through Madhouse. I beat Madhouse. I conquered the game, and the game's like, okay,
here you go.
Like go nuts. Here's your rocket launcher for the rest of the game.
Village, unlimited ammo with the Wolf's Bane, the freaking Magnum revolver. God, that gun was sick.
Yeah.
Love that
Village gives you so much. They give you a fucking Darth Maul lightsaber, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Like so
awesome.
This game, Resident Evil, is such a generous series. They're so generous. They
Great.
give you so much content and like they're giving us DLC. They're giving us a third-person Ethan Winters mode, man.
Yeah.
They didn't even need to do that.
I know.
It makes me cry thinking about that. They actually thought about doing that, man.
We're gonna get to play as Lady D in 2 weeks.
Play as Lady D. I gotta smoke a cigar as Heisenberg. That's crazy. And then Lady D gets to put on her makeup. That's
Throwing
insane.
furniture all over the place.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like nobody even asked for that. Ugh.
Gene, thank you so much. I have one final question for you.
Sure.
When Reverse comes out, can we play together?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hell
do it.
yes.
It looks like fun. I love the environments. I love multiplayer Resident Evil. I love multiplayer Resident Evil.
Same.
Multiplayer Resident Evil is crazy and good. I love it so much.
Hell yeah. We're gonna play some Reverse.
I want them to keep trying at it. Like I'm not a huge multiplayer guy, but I will play Resident Evil multiplayer all day.
Heck yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to talk about Resident
Thank you so
Evil.
much for accommodating my request to be on the show, man. Like I feel like I'm getting some good things off my chest here, man. So
Good.
I'm glad to share it with someone who is enthusiastic and is as hyped as you. Again, I just admire your enthusiasm for the series. I love it so much. Something that I really connected with you, and I'm glad we were able to connect right here too.
Thank you, dude. Anytime you want to talk about Resident Evil, we will. Love and
We'll do it again,
respect.
man.
For sure.